Hey everyone, welcome to Relatively Refined. My name is Paula. In today's video, I'm going to share with you 3 thrift flips. These are little projects in which I took an item that I thrifted and I either upcycled it, recycled it, or used it in a new and different way. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, stick around and let's get started. All right, here is the first project I'm going to be working on. It's this lamp that I got at a local charity thrift store. It's really very cute. I loved the detail in it. I don't know, I don't think it's metal. It may be some kind of resin, I'm not sure. But you can see it has a lot of details. And I thought it would be nice to do something to bring out those details. And then of course I need to get a shade for it. But it does not have a scary plug. It has a good modern plug, so that was a plus. What I think I'm going to do is maybe take some rub and buff and just go over the little highlight details on this with the rub and buff and see if that can bring out some of those details a little bit more. Because if you look closely, it does appear that there is maybe a little bit, or was at some point, a little bit of gold under there. It's hard to see on camera, but just a very little bit. So it either has worn off or been painted over, I'm not sure. So let's go ahead and give this a shot and see what we can do to make over this little lamp. It's the perfect size for just a small area that needs some, ambiance. All right, let's get started on this project. What I'm using is some rub and buff, and I want to tell you, I love this product. It is like a metallic wax, I guess. I'm not exactly sure even what it is, but it comes in this little tiny tube and you think, oh my gosh, that's not enough to do anything. But let me tell you, a tiny bit of this stuff goes a long way. So I'm just taking a dry, cheap paintbrush, and I am very, very lightly brushing the antique gold rub and buff all over the lamp. And what that does is it really highlights those raised parts of that lamp base. Here's a little bit closer look at it, and you can see that I'm just very, very, very gently brushing the tiniest little bit of this rub and buff over the lamp. And it just gives it this really wonderful antiqued look, and it makes the relief stand out so much more on the lamp base itself. And there you can see, I mean, it looks very, very natural. In fact, it looks as if it's meant to be that way. I was very happy with the way this turned out. I will link Rub and Buff in the description box below this video. It comes in a bunch of different colors. There you can see how much that highlighted that little flower on the side. It comes in a bunch of different colors, as I said: silver, bronze, gold, antique gold, European gold. And here's a look at what the lamp looks like with a shade on it and all rub and buffed up. I think it looks great, and it's the perfect little size for one of those dark corners in your house, that might need a little bit of ambient lighting and just a cozy, warm glow. And I think that this looks great. I was very happy with the way this thrift flip turned out. Okay, moving on to thrift flip number 2. I thrifted these little bow candle sconces for $1 a piece at my local charity thrift store. And as soon as I saw them, I knew that they would be perfect for my daughter Neve's room. Now, I have been thrifting items for a room makeover for her for a while, so we are not completely finished, but you'll get to see where we are at. What I'm showing you here is that I loved the bows, but the sconce part was very discolored, and I did not like the coloration on the actual candle holder part of this. So I got out my trusty rub and buff again, and I just put a little bit of that antique gold rub and buff over the discolored parts of these bows. And honestly, that did the trick. It kind of blended the two parts together, because before it looked as if the candle sconces had been added separately from the bows. Now, what I'm going to pop up on the screen here are some pictures that Neve has been pinning for inspiration for her bedroom. So I looked at these pictures as kind of a combination of Love Shack fancy and cottage core, and I tried to thrift items that reminded me of these pictures, so different elements. So I noticed that there were a lot of gold accents, there was blue and pink, there were bows, mirrors, florals. These were all kind of common elements that ran through the pictures that she had pinned for me. So whenever I was out and about in the thrift stores, I would, pick up things that I saw that reminded me of these. She pinned these little gallery wall pictures. Now, we are going to eventually work on a gallery wall for her room, so I've been thrifting different pieces of artwork for that. There you can see those bow hooks. I thought these bow sconces were really a great substitution for that. Again, here's a little shelf with a bow. The gold bow featured prominently in the pictures that Neve pinned. So, as I was saying, whenever I was out, like for example here, these floral picture, that picture on the wall, I would, look for things that were inspired by those Pinterest pictures, or that the Pinterest pictures inspired me to pick up. And as you can see, these little sconces are turning out very cute, and I was really excited to see how they were going to look in her room. I showed them to her before I had put the rub and buff on them, and she liked them even in that state, but I know that they're going to be really cute once I get them all buffed up, so to speak. I'm just putting the final touches on the first one, and in just a minute here I'll hold them up for a side-by-side comparison so you can see what a difference that rub and buff made. And I'm going to tell you, when I say you need a tiny amount, I mean you need a tiny amount. A little bit goes a long way with this stuff. So at first, when I bought that tube and it was $7 or $8 for this little tiny tube, I thought, good grief, that seems extremely expensive. But you only need the very tiniest amount of the stuff, so it does last for quite some time. And here is the side-by-side comparison, and you can see the one on the right is the one I put the rub and buff on. And now let me show you what I'm going to style them with. I got this needlepoint picture. Let me get in close up. You can see that this is so beautiful. That looks like a lot of work to me. Anyway, it's a scene of a beautiful front porch with a rocking chair. And I purchased this for my daughter Neve's room for $15. But I mean, the amount of work that went into that is well worth $15. So I'm going to get this cleaned up and we'll hang it up, and then I'll put those bow candlesticks on either side of it. I think it will look adorable over her desk. The best way to get those sticky tags off is, well, actually you can use like lemon oil or something, but I love my Dawn Power Wash. So I just spray it on here right over the tag and I just let it sit, and then that tag will come off just like a dream. You can stop that now. All right, you can see already that this tag is just starting to come up very easily. That Dawn Power Wash is awesome. So it comes right off with all its sticky residue. And then I can, as a double bonus, I can use that power wash with a sponge and just clean up this glass. So I'm going to get doing that right now. Okay, so the Dawn
has taken care of the sticky residue and the tag, and now I'm going to use my all-purpose cleaner. This is my favorite all-purpose cleaner. This is just Mrs. Meyer's lavender scented all-purpose cleaner in a glass bottle. We buy it in bulk and then mix our own. It's much less expensive that way. So I'm just going to spray this down and just give it a good wipe down. And the frame is a little bit, dinged up, but I don't really mind. It sort of shows its age, and I think that has a certain charm on its own. Okay, so this is now all nice and clean, and we'll take it upstairs to Neve's room and hang it on the wall, and then I can flank either side of it with these bow candle sconces. And I think that will look so adorable, so cottagecore. She's kind of going for a cottagecore meets Love Shack fancy look in her room. All right, so I'm here in Neve's room, and this is her little desk area. And what I thought I would do is hang that picture right here with the two little bow sconces on either side. So now, I'm not one who measures when I hang pictures, okay? Truey measures up, down, sideways, this, that, and the other. I just eyeball it. And honestly, it usually turns out just fine when I eyeball it. But because she might come up here while I'm hanging this, I brought the tape measure so I could fake measure in case she asks. So pro tip, if you don't measure, but you live with someone who does, bring up the tape measure and then you can fake. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I have the picture, and make sure you can get a full view of me fake measuring. So what I'm going to do is I think I'd like to hang the picture right about here. That looks good. Okay, so let me see. What I'm going to use to hang them is a gorilla hook. These things are fantastic. If you've not used these before, they're awesome. So I'll make a little mark. Actually, I should have a pencil somewhere. I'm going to make a little mark and then I'll measure down from there. So here's my measuring technique. Probably don't need my stool. All right. Let me get this where I think it should go. Right about here. So center that over there. And what I like to do is hold this up, kind of get a sense of where the top is. I'll make a little mark there that I can sort of see. And then what I do is I figure out where the wire is. So the wire is about that much below the top of the picture. So then I go back to my mark and I measure down about that much. I'll set this down here. Let me see if I can find my mark again. Yeah, so here's the top of the picture. The wire is about this far down. So then these things are great. Let me show you. I'm going to take you off the tripod and show you exactly how this works. All right, so let me see if I can do this while filming. So this is how it goes in. It's just one small hook, like one small hole in your wall, and you just literally push this in, and then it curls up and inside and forms like a C. Whoops, sorry, there we go. Forms like a C inside your wall, and you hang it. All that's showing in the end is just this little hook part right there. All right. So I'll put you back on the tripod and I'll finish hanging this. So I'm just going to kind of work it in. It just goes right through the drywall, and then you just kind of push it up and inside your wall. And then all you have left is just that little hook right there. So let me grab my picture. We will hang this. Perfect. And what I'm going to go do is get some little felt pads, and I like to put those behind the picture. And there we have it. Now, I'll take these bow sconces and hang one on each side of the picture, like so. All right. These, I need to get probably some little nails because they have little holes, little nail holes. Where is it? Right here and here. So let me go downstairs and I will get a hammer and some nails and we will get these up. Okay, so I'm going to first mark the little holes using a pencil. So I'll eyeball one first, and this may require some measuring, but let's see how we want to do this. And let's just hope that, that this works. If not, nothing but a little bit of joint compound and touch-up paint won't fix. So, perfect. That's perfect. Now, I am going to try to measure that. So, let me see. Okay, the little bows are up, and what I'm going to do next is put some candles in the sconces. These are the flameless candles that I got. I ordered these from Amazon, and they're really cute. I actually, let me show you up here. Over her bed, I also thrifted this little sconce, and those pink candles are the flameless candles that I got from Amazon, and they're remote controlled, and they have a flicker function, and you control them with a little remote controller, very tiny. So I can give you a demo of that in just a minute. So this is what they look like, and there's 6 of them. I'll link them in the description box, and I'm very, very pleased with them. I don't have any more AAA batteries, which is what these take, so I can't demonstrate them for you today, but I will hopefully before this video goes up get some AAA batteries and I can show you what they look like when they are lit up. So let's get those in the candle sconces. All right, that's what they look like. I think it looks so cute. And this, there we go. The picture looks crooked, but I think I was actually holding my camera off kilter. But how darling is that? And once I get some batteries for these candles, I think they will look really precious. So there we go. That picture is thrifted and those candle sconces are. And look how darling that is. Okay, so I thrifted this, what appears to be like a little tiny open sugar bowl. I thought it was so cute, I couldn't leave it behind. I don't really need a sugar bowl, but then I thought what I could do is I could take one of these little match striker stickers stick it on the bottom. Stick it right down there on the bottom. And then fill it with matches. How cute is that to put next to a candle? So let me just fill this up. And then you have a really cute little match holder.
All right, well, I want to take time out of our usual video content for a little brag moment. Look at these cupcakes that my daughter Neve made from scratch for, not us sadly, but for her boyfriend's brother's birthday party. They are Biscoff cookie cupcakes, and they turned out so beautifully. I'm so proud of her. She had the little cupcake carrier and all. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's video and the thrift flips. I really had a great time reimagining, repurposing, and upcycling some of my thrifted finds. And I personally think it's fun to see how people who thrift items use them in their homes. Neve's room is a work in progress. As I mentioned, we are going to be creating a gallery wall, so I will be thrifting for pictures for that wall, and that's something that I definitely will be including in an upcoming video. Let me know in the comments which of the thrift flips was your favorite. And stay tuned because we are going to be doing some more frequent uploading, we hope. Be sure that you're subscribed and you have your notification bell clicked so that you'll be notified whenever we upload. We typically upload on Thursdays, but we're trying to do more frequent Sunday and Tuesday videos. All right, if you like this content, give this video a thumbs up. I will be leaving a couple of videos on screen for you to watch until our next upload. And in the meantime, take care of yourself, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.